Welcome to this tutorial on how to use the Lightboard Studio. This room is designed for capturing visual content, such as handwriting, as well as graphics and images. It's located in 34MSO3 and has a calendar booking system. Fast Digital Lab-34MSO3 at surrey.ac.uk. You can use this to check availability, and this is how you book the room by inviting it to a calendar appointment. When you come into the room, you'll first want to turn on the light, which are just located on the left-hand side of the door. And you'll see the Lightboard in front of you, the studio lights behind it. You have your camera control and your button control panel on the Lightboard desk. In front of the Lightboard, you'll see the preview monitor with the camera mounted above it. And in the right corner of the room, you'll see the PC. The first thing we're going to do is come over to the PC and follow the steps on the board, starting with number 1, logging into the PC, and then I'm going to open my PowerPoint. Don't go into slideshow mode at this point, just want to make sure it's open, ready to go. The next bit is opening Panopto, which you can do from the desktop icon. The next step is going to be adding in your secondary video sources. So we've got 2 options here. We go to add another video source, and from the drop down you can see we have camera only and camera and PowerPoint. So I'm actually going to capture both of these today so I can show you the difference. Camera only captures just your Lightboard. So this is you stood behind the Lightboard writing on it as captured by the camera at the front. Camera and PowerPoint will capture anything you put into PowerPoint with a black background as a graphics overlay. And we'll go into a little bit more detail with that in a minute. Step 3 is to set up to capture PowerPoint. So I want to make sure under secondary sources that capture PowerPoint box is ticked. And also within the capture tab, start presenting when recording starts is also checked. The next step is to set up our microphones. So you first want to remove it from the dock and then attach it to your lapel. And then you can see in Panopto, you've got your primary sources, audio levels moving as you're talking into the microphone. So we know it's set up to be captured. Next, we're on to step 5, which is setting up our lighting. First thing you're going to want to do is turn on the studio light, which is located just next to the PC desk. And then you're going to want to turn off the main room lights, which is located next to the door. Now we're ready to head over to our Lightboard. Once you're stood behind the Lightboard, you can look at setting up the camera. Looking at my preview monitor in front of me, I want to use the camera controls on the desk to adjust it so that I'm roughly centre on the screen. And then we're ready to start recording. Using the buttons on the table, you can just hit record. And now we've started recording. I can see the LED has turned green, so I know that Panopto is actively recording. And my first graphic, Lightboard tutorial, has appeared, so I'm now ready to start my session. My session today is going to be on best practices when using our Lightboard. And the first thing we're going to talk about is text. So you can see I'm writing slightly to the right of myself because I'm right-handed. This is so that I'm not writing immediately in front of my face, and then you can see both myself and the text nice and clearly. You can also see that I'm writing left to right, and you can see the text appearing in the correct direction. This is because the camera is actually capturing a mirror image. So if you do have any text or logos on your clothing, bear in mind this is also going to appear flipped. So try and avoid anything too big and distracting. So the other thing we've briefly mentioned there is positioning. So as well as the location of the text or images that you're drawing on the board, you'll want to bear that in mind with your graphics. So my little title here is to the right and low level, so I'm not generally speaking interacting with that too much. And as you'll see on my next slide, I've also chosen to position my graphic to the right so I can stand to the left and interact with it and talk to you without being covered by the graphic. So the first thing I want to do before moving to that slide is get rid of my text. If it's just a little bit that you've written on the board, it's nice and quick just to wipe it off like so. If you've drawn or written quite a lot on the board though, you might want to use the pause button. So I'm just going to hit the pause button now, and I'm ready. I will hit the resume button, and I can see the LED has turned from orange while paused to green while live. So I'm recording again, and I'm ready to continue my session. So going on to our graphics, we have my first graphic here, which is a chart inserted within PowerPoint. And I can take my pen and using the preview monitor, I can look at myself, see where I'm drawing, and interact with the chart. So how are we creating these graphics overlays? We do it by adding anything we want these images into PowerPoint with a black background. And what we're applying is a process called Luma Keying, which removes anything black. So you can see here there's nothing black within the image itself. We've got white lines, we've got orange, we've got blue, nothing is black. So you can see absolutely everything, and you can see through all of the background. Where it gets a little bit trickier is if you want to insert images that have a solid background, such as this one. So here we've got this white background, and as you can see, you can't see through it at all. So if I try to interact with it with the pen, you can't see anything at all. So we need to remove that background. There are several tools online that you can use to do this, and there are two general processes you'll be wanting to use: removing the background and inverting the colors. So I've got a couple of examples of how I've done that here. So example number one, I have used a tool to remove the background. So all of this white here has been completely removed, and you've still got everything exactly how the original image was, a blue voltage line and a red current line appearing. The problem here is that we had black in the original image. So that power line that's going here, we can't see because most of it is being cancelled out because it's black. So the other option is to invert the colours, which I've done with example number 2. So you can see that the voltage and current lines colour has also flipped, but what we've done is turned everything white to black and everything black to white. So you can see all of those lines like the chart line and the power line nice and clearly, but we've removed that background so I can then come in and interact using the Lightboard pens. I'm just going to pause now while I clean off the board again. There are a couple of other ways you can use PowerPoint with the Lightboard room. One of them is for more traditional slides, such as this one. Again, you're going to want to think about positioning, give yourself a nice area to stand where you're not being hidden by the PowerPoint slide itself, and you can talk nice and clearly to the camera while showing your slides without yourself kind of getting in the way as well. The other way you can use it is for presenter notes. So where we talked at the start of this recording about selecting camera and PowerPoint or camera only, this is where you want to select camera only. So this means that my PowerPoint slides, only I'm going to be able to see on the preview monitor. No one's going to be able to see that in the recording itself. So I can then put a little note to myself on the side here to remind myself of what I'm doing, and I can then just continue with my recording, and no one's going to see anything apart from me and my writing. So that's where you want to select camera only, but if you do want to capture your graphics, you'll want to select camera and PowerPoint. So I've come to the end of my presentation now and the end of my recording, so I'm going to hit that stop button in front of me, and then I'm going to head over to the PC and upload my recording within Panopto. At the PC, I can see that Panopto has stopped the recording and the recording complete window has shown. So all I have to do is select done, and this will start the upload process, at which point I can log out of Panopto and log out of the PC, and as long as that PC remains on, it will keep uploading the recording in the background. Before I leave the room, I want to make sure I return the microphones and turn off all of the lights so that the room is ready for the next person to come and use. If you need any help with use of the Lightboard room, you can contact us at itservicedesk@surrey.ac.uk, or you can also call us on our helpline 01483 68 9898 option 2.